Hello, captains. This is Kent again, and welcome to the flight show. So, a friend of mine had made a suggestion, and I'll get right to the point. They were saying that why don't you do a flight tip Fridays? And it's just like every Friday, give a quick little tip that might make your simming experience a little bit better. And I thought, you know what, that's actually pretty cool. If you're veterans of flight sim, that's probably I don't know if there's anything that I could really give you a tip on. But I know that there are a lot of people that are new to flight sim. Not everybody's been doing this for 20 years, has a super rig system or what have you. So hopefully I'll be able to share some information that would make somebody, kind of happy. In fact, my first flight tip Friday is going to be something that even though I've been doing flight simming for years, even though I've been using Active Sky for prepared for the longest, there's something that I just tripped over because sometimes you just start playing with something and you don't even read the instructions. So let me just give you the scenario here. Let's just say you're a person who likes doing flights, particularly long haul flights. So you're preparing your flight, and I'm just have right up here one that I'm going to do soon, which is between Denver and Cincinnati. But let's say you're doing a long haul. You might be going from New York to London or to Germany or Schiphol. So you put your flight together, and you might use PFPX or a lot of other different flight planning software, and you get to this thing of what runway are you going to depart on. Now, if you're doing PFPX, it would look at, you can set it to use, if you're using Active Sky, what's the weather where you are, so what are the active runways? And so you would, before you want to plan your flight, you want to have your runway so you know what SIDS and stars you're going to use. So we go to Active Sky, and we could predict you could leave it for PFPX to use, but PFPX sometimes does not choose the right one way. So what you can do is come to, Active Sky, to the section that says Conditions, and then you can put in the airport where you're departing from. And down here, it's going to tell you what runways are in use. Because if you have, if you're not on VATSIM, but you're like using like unlimited traffic or traffic unlimited or unlimited traffic live, or you're using global traffic, it takes you out of the immersion if you're taking off on a runway that another plane is landing on from the opposite direction. You kind of want to be in the flow of the traffic. So if your flight sim is using the weather from Active Sky, then more than likely the airplanes are going to be taking off and landing from designated runways. So you can put your airport here, and right down here it's going to tell you what runways are active. So then you can depart with the other airplanes, the AI traffic that's in your airport, if you're actually flying with it. But then there's the matter of where you're going, particularly if it's a long haul flight. So let's just say that I was flying to the airport that I was scheduled to fly in here, and let me go back to my notes, and it's KCVG. So if I go and put that in here, KCVG, all right, so they're using 18 left and 18 right. But here's the interesting thing, and again, I refer you to long haul flights. Just because these are the runways that are in use now, weather is fluid. Weather changes. These could be very different runways 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours from now. So you might have planned your flight and got your SIDS all together to land on runway, and then when one runway, and then you're flying in, if you're using any type of if you're using the stock ATC, or you're using ATC Pro, or you're using radar contact, or those of you out there that might be using oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot Vox. Oh yeah, Vox ATC, where you can actually talk to the computer. All right. Those planes are not coming in on the runway that you're talking about, because the weather has changed from when you planned it. So what you can do is this little bottom tick here. It's the weather forecast. And I don't know why I've never noticed it. So you can actually project, let's look ahead 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours from now, the weather projections that Active Sky is providing is saying your runways are still going to be in use. Or if I project, 5 hours from now, 8 hours from now, 12 hours from now. Things look pretty steady here, but the cool thing is you can look at the weather projections to see if your runways are going to change. That way, you can go to PFPX or however it is you're planning your flight, and you can set your runways and your stars up for the runway for the weather that is predicted to be there instead of the weather that's there when you actually depart the airport right now. So that is my flight tip for this particular Friday, which is March the 15th. By the way, yesterday was Pi Day. Happy belated Pi Day. But this is my tip for the first Flight Tip Friday. I hope this was beneficial to somebody, and I look forward to seeing you in the virtual skies.